Welcome back to Secrets of Superpowers. We have traced the secret path of the Third Reich, from the occult searches of the Ahnenerbe to the conspiracy of Antarctic bases. But when the last hope faded, and defeat on the eastern and western fronts became inevitable, the entire ideological machine of the Third Reich shifted to a single, fantastic idea: Wunderwaffe, the wonder weapon. This was not just an attempt to perfect existing technology. It was a desperate engineering scream into the darkness, an order to create a weapon that would break the spine of the Allies' will and force time to turn back. This was Hitler's last, illusory promise to the German people, a miracle that would save the thousand-year Reich. The term Wunderwaffe itself signified a technological leap that would render all enemy weaponry obsolete. It was an alloy of brilliant engineering solutions and pure madness. Financed through concentration camps, today, we will open these secret archives to see how the space age was born thanks to the V2 rockets built in. Underground hells. Why the largest tanks in history, Mors and Ratte, were a strategic mistake where the Reich nearly invented stealth technology. And the nuclear bomb. This is a story of how, at the peak of despair, genius can be turned into a weapon of mass destruction. Prepare yourselves. This is the wonder weapon of the Third Reich. The missile era, V1 and V2, the vengeance weapons, the most successful, and simultaneously the most brutal. Wunderwaffe project was undoubtedly the vengeance weapon, Vergeltungswaffe, the V-missile series. These developments became the direct harbinger of the Cold War. V1, V1, flying bomb. This was the world's first cruise missile, an unmanned, roaring aircraft that terrorized London. Its unique, pulsating engine sound made the silence after it stopped even more terrifying, signifying the incoming explosion. V2, V2. Ballistic missile, a true technological masterpiece by Wernher von Braun. The V2 was the world's first long-range ballistic missile, soaring to the edge of space before plunging onto its target at 5 times the speed of sound. It could neither be heard nor intercepted. The price of the V2, but beneath this futuristic shell lay one of the most horrific pages of the project, the human cost. V2 rockets were produced deep underground, in the colossal subterranean complex Mittelwerk. Tens of thousands of concentration camp prisoners were forced to work in inhuman conditions. Every V rocket that took to the sky was built on blood, making this technological feat terrifyingly Faustian. Titans on tracks, the Ratte and Mors projects if the V-missiles looked to the future. Some other Wunderwaffe projects were pure megalomaniacal madness stuck in the past. Panzer VIII Mors, the heaviest tank ever built, 188 tons. It was so unwieldy and massive that it could not cross most European bridges and required its own power source just to move. The Mors was a technological monster that was entirely impractical, serving only as a symbol of the regime's unrealistic ambitions. Landcruiser P-1000 Ratte. This project was outright absurdity. The planned weight, 1,000 tons. Its armament included naval guns capable of shelling targets dozens of kilometers away. Just imagine, the Ratte would have required an entire division to support it and was an absolute target for Allied air power. These giants symbolized a strategic dead end, instead of focusing on mobile, effective armored warfare. The Reich invested in static, unbelievably expensive metal fortresses, jet dominance, Messerschmitt Me 262. Jet technology was one of Germany's greatest advantages. The Messerschmitt Me 262 Schwalbe, Swallow, was the world's first series production jet fighter air superiority upon its appearance. The Me 262 was so fast, over 850 kilometers per hour, that it could break off combat with any Allied aircraft at will. It was the game changer that came too late, fatal flaws. However, the Me 262 suffered from fatal flaws. Early jet engines were extremely unreliable, often failing after just a few hours. This, combined with severe fuel shortages, a lack of skilled pilots, and the crucial interventions by Hitler to misuse the aircraft as a bomber, ensured that the technological advantage was never translated into a military victory. The Me 262 remains a chilling glimpse of what the Luftwaffe could have achieved. Atomic ambitions, Uranium project, the Uranium project, the true wonder weapon capable of changing the war's course would have been the nuclear bomb. Germany's Uranium project began even before the American Manhattan Project, and involved some of the world's most brilliant minds. The Germans failed to achieve critical mass due to strategic miscalculations, misunderstanding the necessary amount of uranium-235, and severe resource shortages, especially heavy water, which was the target of legendary Allied sabotage in Norway. Historians suggest that leading physicists may have also slowed the project deliberately to prevent the weapon from falling into Hitler's hands. Invisible warfare, stealth technology, and Horten Ho-229. One of the most futuristic projects was the development of the flying wing aircraft by the Horten brothers. The Horten Ho-229 was a jet fighter bomber. Its flying wing design, combined with its unique construction, a wooden frame covered in a carbon-infused glue, significantly reduced its radar cross-section. It was, essentially, the world's first aircraft designed with elements of stealth technology. This project's sole prototype was instantly seized by the Americans, heavily influencing their own B-2 Spirit design decades later. Sky under lock, air-to-air and surface-to-air missiles, beyond the V missiles. The Germans worked on less visible, but equally revolutionary developments, which today we call surface-to-air missile systems, SAMs, and air-to-air missiles, AAMs, Wasserfall, Waterfall. The world's first guided surface-to-air missile, a scaled-down V-2 aimed at halting the constant saturation bombing of German cities. X-4, the world's first guided air-to-air missile. This small rocket, launched from a jet fighter, was equipped with a wired guidance system, making it immune to radio jamming. These systems demonstrated Germany's capacity to invent weapons that would dominate the battlefield for the next half-century. Project Strauss and the suicide fighters. At the very end of the war, as Allied bombers darkened the skies daily, German engineers turned to a desperate, almost suicidal solution: the vertical interceptor Bachem BA-349 Natter Viper. This was the most radical project. The Natter was not a true fighter. It was a manned, vertical takeoff rocket. The pilot would take off straight up, launch an unguided salvo of rockets into the bomber formation, and then bail out while the fuselage parachuted back to Earth. A one-way trip. The Natter was designed for one single, high-risk mission. The pilot was essentially a human missile guide, symbolizing the final, frantic desperation of the regime. sacrificing individual lives for a minute chance at survival. Hypersonic dreams. Gardena and the Amerika bomber. Some Wunderwaffe projects had global ambitions, such as the Amerika bomber project, aiming to create a strategic bomber capable of reaching New York. The Gardena hypersonic missile, Sanger Amerika bomber. This project envisioned a space bombercraft that could skip off the upper atmosphere. Although the project never left the drawing board, its theory became the direct basis for later NASA and Soviet space program developments, proving that the Reich's theoretical reach extended to space. Submarine wonderweapons. The Walther U-boats. The Wunderwaffe ambition wasn't limited to the air and ground. It reached deep under the sea. German engineers attempted to create a U-boat that would render all existing naval power obsolete. The Walther turbine. The breakthrough was the Walther turbine, which used highly concentrated hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, to generate power. This allowed the submarine to operate its engines without needing to draw air from the surface, making it faster and capable of remaining fully submerged for much longer than any conventional U-boat. The Type 17 U-boat. This revolutionary design could achieve unprecedented underwater speeds, up to 25 knots, making it virtually untouchable by Allied destroyers. These naval technologies became the direct prototype for modern nuclear submarines. Giant artillery and specialized systems. Wunderwaffe also included weaponry that attempted to dominate the battlefield through sheer, inhuman scale and complex systems. Dora and Gustav. Railway guns. These railway artillery pieces were the largest guns ever constructed. They weighed over 1,350 tons and required thousands of personnel for transport, operation, and defense. The 7-ton shells they fired were capable of destroying massive fortifications. It was a perfect example of strategic tunnel vision. Mobility was sacrificed for brutal, yet ultimately inefficient, Force.V3 gun. Hoch Druckpump. This was a multi-chamber, super long-range gun designed to shell London from launching sites in France. It was an attempt to create a massive, high-velocity artillery system rather than a ballistic missile. The madness of genius. Acoustic and optical projects at the peak of their desperation. Some Wunderwaffe projects crossed into the realm of pure science fiction. The sound cannon, Schallkanon. This weapon used parabolic reflectors to focus powerful sound waves that were supposed to induce nausea and even rupture the internal organs of enemy pilots. The sun gun, Sonnengeschütz. The most grandiose project. German scientists seriously considered building a gigantic space mirror in Earth's orbit, which was supposed to focus the sun's rays onto Allied cities, turning them into ash. Underground factories and secret complexes. The Riese mystery. None of these wonder weapons could have been created without a massive infrastructure. Hidden from Allied bombing. The Riese, giant, complex. This was perhaps the largest and most mysterious unfinished project of the Reich in the Ural Mountains of Poland. Its true purpose remains a mystery. Some researchers believe it was the final, safe location for the development and testing of the most powerful wonder weapons. The legacy of Wunderwaffe, Operation Paperclip, and the Cold War. The Wunderwaffe did not save the Reich, but it changed the future of the world. After Germany's defeat, the battle for brains began, a race to capture German scientists. Operation Paperclip. The US secretly evacuated hundreds of leading German scientists, including Wernher von Braun, the father of the V2. to work for the American government, Wunderwaffe. Technologies became the direct foundation for the space race and the Cold War arms race. Thank you for joining us in this world of technological genius and military despair. The Wunderwaffe projects force us to ask, if Hitler had not intervened and given the engineers complete freedom, could the wonder weapons really have changed the outcome of the war? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If the compelling secrets of the past intrigue you, be sure to like this video and subscribe to Secrets of Superpowers. Next time, we will address the most persistent conspiracy theory of World War II, Hitler's escape. We will explore the evidence suggesting that the Führer did not die in the bunker, but managed to flee to South America with the help of secret submarines. See you in the next episode.